How you doing? My name is JP Biambi, and I want to give you a quick little news brief for payments and merchant services from around the internet for March 24th. This highlights a bunch of activity in AI-driven agentic commerce, is what it's called. All right, and one of the things I want to report is that the merchant industry services has seen record-breaking industry fees. So we're going to get to that report a little later. So stay tuned. For what's new, there have been some strategic partnerships that we've seen. Some major collaborations, that have to do with merchant integrations and has expanded customer service access for some merchants. So let's talk about it. Aiden and a company called Globant, that's Globant, which ends with a T, has a new partnership, and they're focused on accelerating, payment infrastructure, and it's going to be for large enterprise companies. It's going to allow them to reduce their time to revenue. So, also, we have Fiserv. If you haven't heard of them, they have now a partnership with Western Bank, and it's going to integrate their Clover platform. All right. And that's going to help modernize merchant solutions for the more complex industries. Anyway, next we hear that Vector Tech and Next Moves, they're going to be partnering up. Basically, they're going to, offer POS solutions, and they're going to facilitate some merchant services. So look out for that. Now, I want to talk about what's happening in tech and AI, because now that, industry trend, it's moving more towards autonomous payments now. So look out for that. All right. And that requires enhanced security. So that's something we talked about yesterday. You're going to see a lot of that. But what you're going to see in agentic commerce, right now, there are some discussions led by JP Morgan and Amazon that already highlight, the rise of autonomous AI-driven payments, right? So get ready. And as far as, AI services, there, are experts who are looking at AI-enabled merchant services as the future of e-commerce. All right. So now, it's going to fuel, mobile wallets in Southeast Asia, which is, a big deal. That's going to fuel the growth of mobile wallets, starting there in Southeast Asia, and that's going to start growing into other places, Tokenization, as we hear, it's moving way just beyond security. It's being positioned now as more of a tool for, future proofing payments. And it's going to be able to protect, merchant and consumer data at scale, which is very important. We need that. Tokenization is going to become very valuable. And then we also hear that, some business moves in the industry that are happening is that merchant industry has rebranded to Suede. Okay. That's new. And this other fintech giant that you may or may have heard of called Klarna has reached a milestone of 1 million merchants. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about the notable acquisitions and changes in leadership that have been happening. MasterCard, they're going to be moving into stablecoins with the acquisition of BVNK. And Elavon, they have appointed a former Bank of America executive as their new CEO. Now, Data Processing Solutions, they had sold their gas station division to Celero Commerce. And there's a shift happening in Africa. fintechs in Africa are moving beyond just simple payments. They're now offering, SME platforms that include inventory management as well as invoicing. Then in South America, you have MasterCard, where they're working to elevate Peru's real-time payment ecosystem. All right. So there are some industry trends that are happening. All right. In, the merchant industry, I would love to report right now that the Merchant Payments Coalition has reported that the credit card and debit card swipe fees have hit a record $198.25 billion. This has prompted calls for legislative action. But, for some of us, it's amazing. Finally, as you know, the market is feeling the impacts from the global conflicts. As you may or may not know, Global Payments, they have noted that transaction volume has been impacted, which has been stemming from the ongoing wars in the Middle East, specifically Iran. But I think we all knew that was coming. If you haven't felt the impacts, yet, I'm pretty sure a lot of us are going to be feeling the impacts of that in our wallets very soon. I'm sure when you're at the register soon, you're going to start seeing the increase of prices affecting your everyday life. If you're not ready for it now, you better get ready for it. Anyway, my name is JP Biambi. Again, I'm with Merchant Advisory Services. If you enjoyed this, if it's been useful, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you'll tune in for the next one.